The world sees Trump for what he is: insincere, ill-informed, and impulsive, and sometimes corrupt, dangerously incompetent, and incapable, in my view, of world leadership and leadership at home. It's why we've seen such a precipitous drop in how the rest of the world views the United States of America. One recent poll found America's leadership is now less respected than China's and on a par with Russia's. And if we give Donald Trump 4 more years, we'll have a great deal of difficulty, if ever, being able to recover America's standing in the world and our capacity to bring nations together, which is desperately needed. And I think it would be catastrophic to our national security and to our future. We can't let that happen. As President of the United States, I would remind the world that we are the United States of America and we do not coddle dictators. The United States of America gives hate no safe harbor. There will be no more Charlottesvilles, no more Helsinkis. The challenge of following this disastrous presidency, however, will not be just to restore the reputation and our credibility. It'll be to enact a forward-looking foreign policy for the world as we find it today and as we anticipate it will be tomorrow and years to come. Much has shifted in the past few years. The international landscape is more crowded, competitive, and complicated. And when we look at what's different today, 2 key points jump out to me. One is that the speed and intensity of the gravest dangers means that the fates of nations are more intertwined than they ever have been. Climate change, nuclear proliferation, international and transnational terrorism, cyber warfare, disruptive new technologies, mass migration. They're moving like Moore's Law is moving. None of them can be resolved by the United States alone or any nation acting alone. American security, prosperity, and our way of life require the strongest possible network of partners and alliances working alongside one another. Donald Trump's brand of American first has too often led to America alone, making it much harder to mobilize others to address the threats to our common well-being. The second concern is the rapid advance of authoritarianism, nationalism, and illiberal tendencies around the world, not just in Russia and China, but also among our allies, places like Turkey, the Philippines, Hungary. In every part of the world, technology and instant information are driving change at unprecedented speed and scope, causing many people, home and abroad, to feel confused and very vulnerable. Democratic governments paralyzed by hyper-partisanship, hobbled by corruption, are having a harder time delivering to their people. Trust in institutions around the world is down, and fear of the other is way up. Together, in my view, these forces have driven dangerous resurgence of extreme nationalism and illiberalism, of protectionism and xenophobia. And Donald Trump and the demagogues around the world are leaning into these forces for their own personal and political gain. But in my view, if we focus, this is not a moment to fear. It's a time for us to tap into the strength and audacity that took us to victory in 2 world wars and brought down the Iron Curtain. That triumph of democracy and liberalism over fascism and autocracy is what created the free world. And this contest won't just define our past, it will define our future. Today, democracy is under intense pressure, more than any time since the 30s, in my view. Freedom House has reported that of the 41 countries consistently ranked as free from 1985 to 2005, 22 have registered net declines in freedom in the last 5 years. Yet, while the world's democracies look to America to stand for the values that unite us and truly lead the free world, Donald Trump seems to be on the other team.